place an imprint on her. And so this is going to be Mama Baby. And we'll rename her later. But I want to go ahead and throw meat on her so she, in this case, she doesn't starve. How's it going, everybody? War right here. Today, I actually want to bring you a little bit of dire bear science, I guess. I don't really know what else to call this. But in my last video, if you checked it out, I actually tamed two 180 dire bears and went and bred them, and you know, got a offspring obviously, and it happened to be a female. So now what I want to do is I actually want to test my two females together with the same level. I'm going to have them at level 301, so I actually have the baby ready to go with levels, and I want to compare the two stats and see essentially if the bred bear will come out with better stats at the same level. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to input points into the new bear until the stats are equal to or close to equal to what the mama bear had. So the way I'm going to do that, so what I'll do here is we'll kind of look here at first, and I want to look at weight. So the mama bear is at 1266. The baby bear is already at 1513. So I'm not going to touch that stat because it's already bigger. So now the next thing I'm going to look at, the next important one to me, is going to be health. My mama bear is at 11,242. So then we'll come into here and we're going to add points into the health stat until she becomes close to the 11,242. And so far we're at 81, 9,300, 10,000, so probably one more point. And that should put us very close. That's very close, 11,608. So I think that's about as close as I'm going to get to be, you know, without going overboard with it. Okay, so the next one I'm going to look at is melee damage. So 1,028% for mama bear. So baby bear, let's go points into here to see how many it's going to take to get there. And I can already see it's actually more points than what the other one had. I can already see that essentially mama bear is still a much better bear. I don't see really any other major differences in them now besides melee damage. 1028, 806. Granted, the weight is 1 point higher on the seal. So with that said, so depending on what you want to breed into would be really dependent on which bear you may want to use in this case. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm actually going to go forward and breed each of them. I got one male stud, so the donor, if you will be the same bloodline. And then I want to see which bear is going to come out better, coming out of female, out of baby, or out of mama. So when I bring you guys back, I'm going to have two baby bears ready to go. Alright, we'll see you in a few. Alright, so baby bear 1 is on its way at 98.5% gestation. So we'll sit back here, let it go ahead and be born. There she is. Alright, let's get mama bear out of the way. Now this was actually the original mama. So let's go ahead and get her out of the way over here. And go ahead and place an imprint on her. And so this is going to be Mama Baby. And we'll rename her later. But I want to go ahead and throw meat on her so she, in this case, she doesn't starve. And you know, the stats came out actually a little bit less than the original. So I'm curious about that. That's interesting to me. It's a 259. The original one came out at like a 2 287, something like that. So that's kind of interesting. So it seems like maybe something got skewed. Not quite sure what. But I got 17 minutes left for this one, so I'm going to go check on my other ones here, and I'll bring you back. Okay, so we have incoming baby, and there she is. And she's breeding out at a 287. So this was actually the spawn of baby bear from original mama and daddy bear, I guess. So we'll put baby spawn. Now baby spawn came out at a 287. Definitely higher. So that's kind of interesting. So when I bred original dad with daughter, essentially, the level did come out higher. It looks like the weight came out a little bit better. Everything else looks about the same. So that's kind of interesting to see there. And this one actually is a boy. And we have no mutations. And if you see here, your matrilineal line, it was Creos and Wrangel birthed Lucille, and Lucille and Wrangel birthed baby spawn. So that's kind of interesting to see. So when I use deeper into the bloodline, I essentially gained a little bit better of an actual starting stat. Nope, let me go ahead and throw food on this baby, just so we don't lose it. And yeah, so that's kind of interesting. So we'll what we'll do is I'm not going to have you guys stick around and watch my whole imprint process, because that's just going to take too long, and I don't need to record that necessarily. You guys have seen that. You guys know how that goes. But what I am going to do is I'm going to go ahead and bring both of them in, and then once I get them both fully matured, I'm going to make sure I'm going to bring them to an original level at probably 287. I'll keep this one's stats where it is, and then I'll end up leveling the juvenile mama baby to see where the stats lay out and see how it goes. Alright, so when I come back, I'm going to have two fully grown baby dire bears with different bloodlines, kind of, you know, two wild bloodlines and then breeding into a family bloodline. So we'll see how it goes. I'm curious to see which one's going to come out with the actual better stats. So when I can bring you guys back, we'll continue. Alright everybody, so the last thing I want to show you for my my breeding video here is just going to be the comparison between the two bears that were bred out. So right off the rip, you can see breeding the male, first my wild male and my bred female. I got the level 287 male, and his stats, and I didn't put any stats in yet, he came out with 1480.6 weight, which is pretty solid. Melee damage at 415.6, movement speed at 240, and health at 3475 are the main really concerns, and stamina at 2600, which is pretty solid. And then the female that was basically my two wild pairs, my 180 perfect tames, bred out at a 259, and the weight was at 1328, so it was a little bit less. Melee damage at 415.6, again less. Health was the same, stamina was the same, and movement speed was the same. She did imprint at an 87%. He imprinted at a 87% as well. I was a little shy on the full imprint, which is kind of disappointing, but what do you do? So yeah, so definitely breeding into the bloodline a little bit further did result in a higher return, if you will. So keep that in mind, and you know, the next time I come back to these breeding videos, I'm gonna do some more experimentation with it and see which way I can go to get even better stats. So as always, you know, everybody, I do appreciate you watching, and I thank you. Go ahead and hit that sub, hit that like button if you like the content you see. I hope it was beneficial to you. I hope it helped you out. But that's going to do it for me. So once again, everybody, I salute you. Bye now.